Marvel's Thunderbolts. Is Marvel back? This whole thing that always Marvel's back, Marvel's crap, Marvel's back, Marvel. Forget that. We should like look at this as an individual movie.
It's not the return of the MCU and better than Endgame, like best movie since Endgame. No, we had Guardians of the Galaxy, we had Wakanda Forever. There's been good
Spider-Man.
movies.
Yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home, there has been good movies.
Lewis does a great job on this vulnerable smile. Like this vulnerable face of like, don't worry about me. I'm a loser. I know I don't belong and I don't want to drag anyone down with me.
I was chasing something and I didn't realize what it was I was chasing. Had that realization of I've got everything in front of me, man.
What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Brothers Geek Out movie reviews, and today we're going to review Marvel's Thunderbolts. The New Avengers is now called.
Asterix, yeah.
Asterix, new Avengers that is now called. There's a lot of marketing promotion going around that. Very interesting. We're going to get into all of that. But guys, before we do, this is sponsored by Cherish Clicks. See the magic, be the magic. Check the description for more. Do like, share, subscribe the video if you like this sort of content, and let's get into it. Marvel's Thunderbolts. Is Marvel back? That's what everyone keeps saying. Marvel's back, all this sort of stuff. Is it back? Or is it just a great not one-off great movie, but just a good movie that came out from Marvel? This whole thing that always Marvel's back, Marvel's crap, Marvel's back, Marvel. Forget that. We should like look at this as an individual movie, see how it kind of ties into the MCU. Does it give you that MCU hype back again? And say yes. And if it's a crap movie or a movie that just doesn't hit so well, like there's no need to say that Marvel's back or Marvel's not back. But that's my opinion. Like Thunderbolts. Bro, the hype's all around it. There's so much hype around this movie, right? I don't think it's Endgame levels. I don't know why people are saying that, but I think it is a good movie. Let's get into it, man. What's your thoughts? What was your initial thoughts when you came out?
Exactly the same.
Yeah,
exactly the same thing, bro. Exactly the same thing. I said it in my reviews, right? It's not the return of the MCU and better than Endgame, like best movie since Endgame. No, we had Guardians of the Galaxy, we had Wakanda Forever. There's been good
Spider-Man.
movies.
Yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home, there has been good movies. So I hate that quote. I don't know who said that quote. No, dude, like come on. It's
Marvel's
a great
never
movie.
gone anywhere. I'm
No,
sorry. I
that's what I'm
have to say,
saying.
yeah, this whole thing, Marvel's back, and it's not gone anywhere. Like they've had a couple ups and downs, but to just say, it's been dead this whole time. Oh, it's back again. It's like, what? I don't understand this Marvel's gone and then it's back again. No, it's
But that's
there.
the marketing, bro. That's the
True.
marketing. That's the
True.
marketing. That's marketing is going to push whatever it can. And listen, man, look, they didn't even give people 3 days to watch this fucking movie, bro. They have already. How, bro? How it's because they're jumping on spoilers now. The marketing team are jumping on spoilers now than anybody else getting that. Does that make sense? So it's like,
Yeah,
fuck it. 3 days later, people are gonna post this shit online anyway. Why don't we do it and do it on a grand scale? Which is
it's
great
true.
marketing, but
Which is what they done
for
with the whole New Avengers thing, right? You're talking about that?
yeah, yeah,
Reference
yeah,
to
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm
listen, I'm a
no, go.
bit biased to that because I feel like there are people that live in a reality where they have to work, they ain't gonna get the time off, and they are on social. So it's gonna be when Marvel are spoiling the shit out of it, you're like, oh shit, like because this is
Where are we?
basically,
Where are we in this
yeah, we're
time? We were
we're at
at
a
a
point now
stage.
where yeah,
No, we were at a stage where it was like end games. Don't spoil it for anyone. And now we're at a point like Marvel. We're spoiling the shit out for everyone already. If you haven't seen it in 3 days, we're
you
spoiling the shit.
lose,
Yeah. So
you
is
lose.
it just adapting with the times? Is it just
No,
like
they're adapting with the times and the way marketing is working now. Why not? If another account like Screen Rant or comicbook.com are spoiling it and getting shitloads and tonloads of views and the rest of it, then why not Marvel do it as well? Why not the actual company spoil the shit out of it? So there's a valid reason for that. But for me as a consumer, you kind of push me away a little bit because yes, I was lucky enough to see it at the premiere. Lucky the rest of the team got to see it at the screening. But we still have respect to not fucking regurgitate all of the shit that we saw
I
on screen
know. Our
onto
reviews a week late, not late, but
yeah.
our reviews a week later. We done that intentionally to not, we're gonna spoil the shit out of it
We're
now,
gonna
but we
spoil the
done
shit out
it.
of it, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't
But
want
we
to be
in
first and
general, I don't
spoil
like
it.
spoiling stuff anyway. You know what I mean? It's like there's like fans are gonna go watch this. There are gonna be fans. You're gonna introduce this to new people as well. We don't want it to come to a toxic community when it's like, you know what, Marvel just spoiled. It's not even that. I stopped following toy companies. It's the first time. You know, I love like Hasbro and Prime One Studios and Hot Toys and what's the other one? That do
Oh,
XM
uh,
Studios. But
excellent
I've
studio.
just
Okay.
stopped following them because they're putting spoilers everywhere on like their products and shit. And it's like the movie hasn't come out in a month. And this is what I was telling you about the other day. I think it was Hasbro. And then they just fucking spoiled the fact that Sentry's in it. I didn't know because after the first trailer, I knew little bits and pieces, but they spoiled the fucking look of it, bro.
The look of
So
it,
I know
yeah,
Sentry
yeah.
was going to be in this, but I didn't want it to know what the suit was going to look like and stuff like that. So anyway, listen,
The movie, yeah, yeah,
marketing
yeah, yeah.
has changed, bro.
Yeah.
Marketing has changed. But I don't think this is a return of MCU. I think it's a step in the right direction. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a step in the right direction. It is a good film. There are some one or two things about it which we will jump into, but overall, bro, very good film. Very good film about misfits, mental health, and family.
Yeah.
Family. You know what I
I
mean?
have to say, I actually did come out of this movie feeling hyped and kept on thinking about the movie and really thinking, man, this movie was great. We're gonna get
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the character arcs and then the mental health in a second because I think that's what stood out to me the most. But I do feel like it followed like an old, the usual Marvel formula and that worked. And just having a bunch of characters, having that comedic character, having great storylines, having great relationships, building those characters. Having, I would say, well, there wasn't like a main villain, but just kind of plot like a main threat. But then also
Yeah,
tying
but
into
that
the
threat
MCU, but tying into the
exactly. But
episode.
go.
Now I was gonna say tying into the MCU in a super exciting way. We're gonna go into spoiler territories and whatnot later on and Easter eggs and all that sort of stuff. But the way it tied into the MCU was the most exciting in a long time. That end credit scene. All right, let's just spoil it right now. With the Fantastic Four coming in, was one of the most exciting end credit scenes that we got in ages. So I was so pumped. It's the first time I've been pumped in ages because it was a what do you call it, man? Shit, a good. I'm gonna use a shit word. A good end credit scene. I was trying to find a better word for it, right? But an effective
No.
end credit scene where it's just not
Effective,
like, oh,
yeah.
hey, okay, cool. This was such an effective end credit scene where you're like, oh my God, oh my God. Like I came out pumped. And that's the first time Marvel's done that in a while because
In
I
a
just
while.
felt like the end credit scenes and the link to the MCUs were always, it just died off a little bit. But I came out
It
this
did.
movie pumped and I came out this movie loving these characters. You done what Marvel's done in the past, where you create a movie, you give a great story and characteristics and action and humor, and I come out of the movie like, oh, I enjoyed that so much that I'm actually looking forward to seeing more of most of these characters. I'm not going to say all of them, most of them, and we're going to get into each individual character. So that to me is a plus. I think this is a great movie. It's a rewatchable movie for me, for sure, right? We spoke about Captain America. Unfortunately for me, that's not rewatchable. Maybe the Hulk scenes and the action scenes, yes, but not the whole movie. This for sure is a rewatchable movie for me. I could go back and watch, just like I would constantly go back and watch phase 1 to 3 over and over and over again. I think this one falls into that bucket. I could rewatch this one. So
100%. 100%.
Look. I think we're going to spend most of our times on this part because I think this is what was the most impactful thing, which is like the character arcs, the relationships, and that mental health, right? Because this is where they made the story and each character's relatable so much. Now we've been introduced to all of these characters, but a quick one, bro. Can you hear that little ping that keeps coming up, or is that just me?
I think
You
that's you.
can't
I
hear it.
can't hear it, bro.
Okay, good. As long as you and the users can't hear it. Anyway, it was the mental health. It was the character building, but just kind of working on telling us a story about what they're going through, their mental health issues, which kind of forms the arc of this misfit, vigilante team, right? Which, you have Suicide Squad, you have now the Thunderbolts or the New Avengers, as they're talking about. But how you characterize these misfit team, right? And they really I think, done an amazing job in all of their sort of like mental health and what they're going through. So let's go through that, right? Because that's what I think for us is most impactful. And if you listen to the podcast, we're big on mental health, and this stuff kind of means a lot to us, right? Let's start off with Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, who's the most popular character in the movie. However, I would say that he took a little step back to let others shine. Which is Yelena. I would think that she's the main shine or focus of the movie. But Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, the only character that's been in phase 1 to 6 up to this point. Sebastian Stan smashing it as this character, always amazing. His struggles, from his past, being accepted, being forgiven about all the past. You can't just forget that. But it looks like he is being forgiven a little bit because he has been, he's redeemed himself a little bit. Or of course, he has redeemed himself. Captain America, obviously, but Steve Rogers has stuck up for him. Even the new Captain America has, in Sam Wilson, has worked with him. So there's a lot of redemption there. But he's going through like leadership struggles. He's trying to be a senator, not just a leader in these Avengers or the new Avengers, but a leader for the people.
That's right.
The trauma that he goes through with the whole Hydra stuff that he went through, which kind of gets him the redemption again that we spoke about, and then PTSD and loneliness. And I feel like Captain America Steve Rogers went through a whole bunch of loneliness where he decided to I don't want to be lonely no more. I'm gonna go live my life at the end of Endgame. And Bucky Barnes is Winter Soldier. I feel like he's still going through that. He's still the lonely guy. He hasn't got a relationship. His best friend, Steve Rogers, which I'm sure he's talking to. He's out there, he's an old guy now, but that young Steve Rogers is not there. And he's got that PTSD.
Yeah.
But what did you think of Bucky's character, man, and Winter Soldier's character in this?
I think Bucky's grown, almost finding his place now on what he wants to do. It's interesting that he's doing this center row and on a larger scale, like on a political level, you know what I mean? Which is interesting to see Bucky taking that role. We still don't know old Cap is still around. That's one thing that they've never continued on, which would be interesting to see, because if he's going, I'd love to see Bucky going to Steve and saying, what would you do in this situation, bro? Like,
same with Sam Wilson.
I know. Same with why don't they confirm that?
I know. Just killed. See, sorry to cut you, but I know Sam goes to Ajaya. What's his name? Ajaya? The Black Captain America, the original one. Isaiah. I know he goes to him. Cool, I get it. And there's a whole cultural thing. But from phase 1 to 3, man, Steve Rogers was by your side and you had his back the whole time. At least have him there as well. So I do feel like, little cameo scenes of just advice would have been good. But yeah, carry on, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, no, so it's interesting to see Bucky where he is at the moment now, where he's looking to go on, take things into kind of like a political run, but then going back into a team, which is interesting. Now he has a team. Yeah, a misfit team. So
because I think that relates. Let's be real. I think Steve Rogers would have said, stay away from politics. You know what happened in Civil War, man. Politics and government trying to get involved. Stay away from them. So the fact that Sebastian, he's trying to be the bridge, but also he's just joined the misfit team. Not the typical hero team who has a clean record. He's just joined the team who doesn't have a clean record, which he fits straight into. But I think this movie kind of shows, even though they don't have a clean record, it's their past traumas or whatnot that got him into this. It's not their initial it's not them as a human being that made them this misfit.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just the situations that they've been put into. So no, it's great to see Bucky continue. It's great to see where he is. He had some really cool scenes in here. Laugh out loud moments as well. But yeah, no, absolutely awesome, man. Great. I think he's developed very well. And I'm liking, because we've had him for almost 10 years plus in the MCU? Huh? Plus, sorry, 10 years Soldier. Plus, yeah. Yeah, okay, so yeah. 15 years maybe. 15 years. Anyway, numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
His
he's in there.
Terminator
He's in there.
scene, I have to say, was so cool. So cool, bro. I have to
Yeah.
say, when I saw that, I actually felt goosebumps. I was like, this is a cool scene. And obviously, it was inspired by Terminator 2 and whatnot. It's really cool, bro. The way he showed up, like, just made him epic, I think.
No, very good scene, very good scene. I loved it. He's a great character, bro. Great addition to the Thunderbolts as well, and what they stand for and what they mean. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
feel like they showed more of his strength in this as well, bro.
Yes, yes, yes. The way he
They
just
showed a lot more
flipped
of his
that
strengths.
car
He's
and
yeah, like he's tactical. He's more fighting. Like we haven't seen him fight like that in a while. I mean, we did see a little bit in Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I feel like yeah, movie level stuff is actually great. I feel like TV kind of disjoints. I think I think the TV shows disjointed the MCU movies on a whole because you could notice in each production. So anyway, that's me on
yeah,
Bucky.
no, I agree because if they wanted to connect, I feel like they should have put the budget, and they did in some of them, like put the budget into those TV shows to make sure it connects and keep the same theme. But yeah, Winter Soldier, amazing, awesome. Let's move on to like let's be real, and I think they highlighted this like the star of the movie, Yelena Belova, right? Who's played by Florence Pugh. Hopefully I said her name right.
Pew.
Now
Florence Pugh.
you could tell, yeah, sorry. You could tell, look, everyone had good screen time, I think, except we'll just pull it out this Taskmaster. They killed her straight away. So forget about Taskmaster. I don't know
Dead.
why on the poster you should
Deaded.
have just. I mean, I guess that was a shock value, but I was almost like, what was the point? Anyway, just get that out of the way. You could tell that she was the main star of the show, even though everyone got a good sort of screen time and storytelling and whatnot. But if you also rank it, she was number one, basically. It was mostly about around her. Now, she had a bit of like humor in her from the very beginning, but as the story developed with her, you saw the grief, the loss of her sister, twice in her life, as she mentioned, right? Once when they were kids and once as an adult, and she's gone for good. So she can't even get that. Her purpose in life, trying to, just being a tool for her whole
Mm.
life, is what she's dealing with. And then, where she wants to fit in the world, like her legacy and whatnot, and her relationship with her father, like who who's we're going to talk about in a bit as well. But I think she does a great job in kind of like telling us that throughout the whole movie. Like,
100%. 100%.
yeah, I'm grieving here, and I need my father. I need family. I want family, basically. I want, I'm grieving here, and I want purpose in life. Like I've been a tool my whole life, and I want purpose. What do you think of her
Yeah.
character?
No, listen, bro, really deep, and I'm glad that they picked her because she's probably the one that's going through a lot of trauma, and you can see it through most of her journey uh in the MCU so far, and how she was introduced, and Hawkeye and all the rest of it. So, but there was like that moment of acceptance, like, why am I doing this stuff? Like, I'm just good at what I do, but I don't even like doing what I do anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's no purpose. Purpose is so important, I think, is anybody's life. And I think that's why we all related to these characters because they they grounded it. They grounded it. They're finally getting stories about, superheroes, villains, or in-betweeners. They are the in-betweeners that, have these thought processes too. And I think that's why Spider-Man works so well with teenagers and growing into as an adult. That was a kid going through school, looking after his auntie, trying to hustle and make money. It's what we're all still doing now. You know what I mean? So it's like Yelena. I think what it did with Yelena's character was that it grounded it to a point where it's like we all go through all of this, and we all want purpose. We all want to find something that we love. We all want to be a part of something. I think this is the most important part: is being a part of something, bro. Uh, yeah, I think They made. I mean, she's the center of that crew, basically. She's the
Yeah,
center of
definitely.
that
And
crew.
she's actually got like I like the little humor that she's got there, and I think she kind of uses that to disguise that I'm okay, but also like
Yeah, yeah,
also using that humor to like reach out for help. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those sort of things, and I think she plays a great role. And I wouldn't say she reminds me so much of Black Widow, and I'm not saying she's our new Black Widow because what's Black Widow that we had from phase 1 to 3 was so impactful and such an amazing character. And I feel like they could have done a lot more. No, they done amazing with her, but I think like she was definitely a strong female sort of lead in those sort of movies. But I think she's just like a new version of that, and you're already expressing the trauma that this character comes with. So you made her so relatable, where it's like she's acceptable, and I'm like, I can't wait to see more of her. And I hope it's almost like, and I feel this with all the characters, and especially Bob, which we're gonna get to later. But I kind of, by the end of this, they made the stories and the stuff so relatable by each character. I actually want the best for them. You know what I mean? Like by the end
Yeah,
of it, it's like I hope they do well. Like it's one of those, and I love the fact that when you could put me through a movie or a show, and by the end of it, I'm actually wanting the best for these characters. You know, I'm trying to say like I hope
exactly,
they do good in
exactly.
life and whatnot. It's a weird feeling, but that's what you kind of impacted with me. Let's move on to Red Guardian, right? Who I think is MVP of the movie. My guy, David Harbour, smashes it as Red Guardian. Actually, Red Guardian is now one of my favorite characters. He's so fun to watch. He's so fun
Yeah,
to
yeah,
listen to.
yeah,
His
yeah, yeah.
enthusiasm of being a hero, but really it's a lot of ego. It's a lot of I want to be famous. I want to be on the cereal boxes, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of father. He is a father, and he's
That's right.
and Yelena called out for him, and he wasn't there because he's too focused on himself. He is is it the balance between him being a father or a liability in her life or in his life as well. But he's chasing glory, and being a superhero is not just about chasing the glory. Captain America, Steve Rogers, never chased the glory. He always did what was right for people. Now, Red Guardian in that balance where he's like, yeah, I want to do right, but I want the glory, and I think that's what held him back as being that superhero, right?
Yeah.
But for me, MVP, because he's every time he was on camera, I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm giggling. I'm like, he's for me MVP of the movie. So good. I can't wait to see more of him.
The guy should have had his own movie from ages ago. Anyway, David Harbour really brings this character to life on a different scale as a dad, because as you said, I can 100% relate to him about chasing glory. Chasing glory. Oh my god, shit, guys. Here's a reality for you guys. And he towards the end, he admits it. You know what I mean? He admits it. But again, he was trying to find his place as well. Even me as a father, we just want to find our place. Are we doing the right thing? But you get lost it gets lost. You get lost. We all get lost. We all get lost, man. He got lost, but he came together really well towards the end, man. I related to him, man, because I'm that guy. I'm the one that screams for Lara and Nia. I'm the one who gets excited when they do something cool. Uh, but then I'm chasing my own stuff. And I realized that a couple of years ago and you'll notice it, like, I was chasing something and I didn't realize what it was I was chasing until I kind of had that realization of, I've got everything in front of me, man. Why am I chasing? Uh, why am I chasing for? And he came to that realization as well. There's a
Yes.
moment in there, and I was like, I really related to him in that process. And yeah, he's wicked, bro. He is
Yeah, he's
MVP, regardless. Red Guardian's
definitely.
MVP. He's brilliant. He's
Everything
brilliant.
about him, his business, the limo business, all that sort of everything. Trying to be a part of the team, wanting to be a part of the team, all that sort of stuff. But with him, like you kind of sitting back and you're starting off with his humor and all that sort of stuff, and you're like, does he even give a shit that Black Widow's dead and all this sort of stuff? And throughout the movie, and as it evolves between the relationship between him and Yelena, when she gets sucked away by the void, that emotion he shows, I felt like it was for her and Black Widow. Like you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
saw, oh my God, he does care so much for his daughter here. I think the glory and just he wasn't able to express it, but that scene showed how much. And I feel like I said, that was a cry of that I just lost both of my. He thought he lost his second daughter, but I feel like it was a cry for both of them because we never saw him or was not introduced to him until after End Games, right? And
Mm.
I feel like if he, like his reaction to finding out Black Widow's dead would have been something like that, but we never ever saw that, you know what I mean? And I feel like we saw that in this reaction, which I thought was it was just amazing how that emotion was there, man. It was like, you know what I mean? Because you kind of like, but at home, you got so much jokes and everything, but is he grieving
Where's
for
the
her?
heart? Yeah,
He
where's your heart?
does.
Where's
He
his heart? Yeah,
does.
like,
Yeah, he does
yeah.
grieve for her. Absolutely amazing. He's one character I can't wait to see more. Those three characters, and the next one we'll speak about is the four characters I want to speak. I want to see more. Right. The next character I think was one of the most impactful was Robert Reynolds, played by Lewis Pullman. Right, Sentry, our Superman. Oh no, sorry, not our Superman. Marvel Superman. Sorry, equivalent. Sorry. Bro, this character, by the end of the movie, I felt sad for him. He's the one I felt sad for, and Lewis does a great job on this vulnerable smile. I'm gonna be all right. Don't worry about me. Just let
Yeah,
me
bro.
like this vulnerable face of like, don't worry about me. I'm a loser. I know I don't belong, and I don't want to drag anyone down with me, right? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
Oh,
just this vulnerable smile of like, you know, when you're upset or something and you don't want to upset your wife or whatever by telling them, but you're just like, you put on this vulnerable smile and you're like, I'm okay, don't
yeah,
worry.
yeah, it's cool.
But
Don't worry.
really, you're reaching out would help. And Yelena was amazing to see that this guy
Yeah.
needs help, right? Because she saw through that vulnerable smile, but that face that he puts on, again, this is acting, right? I don't know shit about it, but I saw it in his performance where I'm like, your smile and you're like, I'm gonna be okay, guys, just leave me, was a call for help. Liana saw it, I saw it as a viewer. Shout outs to Lewis, and Bob was one of the most impactful characters for me in this movie. Not because he's so powerful, because that part's exciting.
Complex, bro. It's a complex
Yeah,
character.
man.
Very
Yeah,
complex
man.
character. And because he's playing not just Serenity, but he's playing the Void as well, which is two parts of his mind
Is it
battling out
Serenity
for
or
his body.
Century?
Sentry, yeah. And the battle of the mind of two of these most powerful characters put together. Uh, so good, bro. So good. Like they gave Marvel a larger stake there. Like it was a stake. Like something's gonna happen. Like my only thing was, and guys, we're already in spoilers. Is I genuinely thought when he was the Void, he was killing everybody.
I did think that too. Yeah, I
I was
did.
like, oh shit! Like, god damn,
Yes.
he's
Started off with
killing
a little
people.
girl. Started off with a little
Yeah,
girl. I was like, oh shit, they killed a little girl.
fucking hell. It's like, holy shit, they killed her. But then they went into the comic part element of the movie, which is the mind and how it works and the fantasy comes out. And it gave me a bit of joy in that moment because I was like, shit, this is the stories that I want. This is the stuff that I read in comic books. This is the stuff I read in books. And we haven't got that mystery. Like, yes, we got superpowers and all the rest of it, but where's the insane part of the movie? And that was the insane part of the movie is the levels of the mind, the conflicts we have internally. Uh, it was fucking good, bro. Like, bro, Bill is wicked. I just found out Lewis Pullman is Bill Pullman's son from
Yes, yes, yes,
Independence Day. I was like, what?
yeah. I
They
found
got
out
Kurt
too.
Russell's son as fucking
Secret Agent John
uh
Walker.
yeah, John Walker. I was like, fucking hell, all these classic guys that we grew up with, we're
Their
seeing them play
sons.
these amazing characters. This is sick, bro. But yeah, listen, keep saying it again. Century, the costume looks sick. His aura looks sick. There
Yes.
was that battle
Very
scene that they
good
had.
comic book actor.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, man, it was he. They brought a different element to this film, and I think this is why people are enjoying it. Where there were moments of being surprised. There were moments where I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I haven't had that feeling in a long time in a Marvel movie where it was like, "Shit, wow, that's good." And that's
Yeah.
why I say it's a step in the right direction. But yeah, he was wicked, bro.
Definitely. I mean, look, him finding his purpose in life, and I still think he's figuring that out by the end of the movie and whatnot. He's
Yeah,
almost, Moon Knight-ish in regards to two different
excuse
people.
me.
You got Sentry and then you got
Exactly.
the Void, right? And obviously they touch a lot when you go into his mind. They touch a lot on his past traumas and family and whatnot. And he gave up on life and he signed up for this experiment because he gave up in life. But he was also looking for purpose in life. Like, and this is where the Century superhero part kicks in because he has that. But not everyone's perfect, you know. In all these superhero movies or the MCU, you could just say for the last since phase one, it's always been the right person becomes the superhero. The right person becomes Cap and all that sort of stuff. Yes, they had a bit of issues, ego issues, blah, 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 anger issues, but we're talking about people who have, you know, serious like mental health and trauma issues from childhood and everything. And they could be heroes too. They want to be good. You know, Sentry wants to be good, Bob wants to be good, but his past and everything has left him down the line of drugs, left him down the line of like, you know, sort of hate and all that sort of stuff with family and father figures and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, he wants to do good. He wants to find a purpose in life, which he signed up, which is why he signed up for this sort of thing. But then, you know, just having someone believe in him, like Yelena, that's why she was like his guardian angel type of thing, because she saw through his smile and it gave him purpose, you know what I mean? And even that's why, you know, what's her name? What's the woman's name, man? Valentina was able to kind of manipulate him because he wants purpose blind. She was able to kind of manipulate because she's a master manipulator. But Bob's one of my favorite characters. His powers are super exciting. They are exciting, especially in this universe, because you just want to see what happens. Like in the comic book World War Hulk, when Hulk comes back, they call on Sentry. If I remember reading it, they call on Sentry, say, we need your help because Hulk's going mad out here. And they have a big bad. So he's on that level of strength there. Obviously, he's Marvel Superman. You know, if he was around, like when a big bad comes, like Doctor Doom, Galactus, whatever comes, like how impactful is Sentry? Because they left this movie at the end where he's like, I'm cool, guys. I'm still figuring it out. So it's not like he's there. So they've kind of left him in a limbo where it's like, he's still vulnerable. And when would he come out for us? So we can't rely on him. But his powers are exciting, man. I mean, really, he could have tore them guys apart. I think because he is a good guy, he held back a little bit, but he could have tore them apart. But his powers are super exciting, and I can't wait to see more of him. But I can't wait to see him in big battles. You know, I'm talking about endgame level Earth destruction, universe destruction battles, and that could be something with Hulk because that would be awesome. That would be fun. So yeah, more of him, please. U.S. agent John Walker, Kurt Russell's son. Now he again became likable in this, right? For me personally, became likable. He had this sort of humor to him. That was kind of a bit more likable in this character. He tried to be the leader, which clearly he's not. You know, his patriotism is what trying to get him through. His guilt because he did kill and he did put a stain on that shield, which was held by an honorable man of Steve Rogers. And his ego, you know, he's been in the military, he kept on throwing his expertise out there, being in the military and all that sort of shit, is what made him the character that he is. But he was actually quite likable and funny because he had a little bit of jokes in this one. He kind of lightened up a little bit in this one, in this movie, to make him a bit more likable. But he is still struggling with that. He lost everything. He lost his kid, right? He lost, when I say lost, his wife kind of, they left him or whatnot, I believe, right? If I remember. And he was still trying to hold on to that. Like, he's this all-American hero. I'm the man with the wife and kid, and I'm a war veteran, and I'm supposed to be the Captain America. But by the end of the movie, you find out his own family doesn't want to be next to him. He killed someone. He betrayed that shield. He betrayed that Captain America shield, all that sort of stuff. So there is that, but he wanted to be, you know, he was honored with it. So he wanted to be that hero. It's just not him as a person. But yeah, US agent, bit more of a likable character in this one.
He was, even though he was still an asshole. It was interesting to see like his journey explained a little bit more, because now we're getting their side of the story, where before in Falcon and Winter Soldier, he was just a dick. You know what I mean? There's a clip that reminds me of, you know, why not stand beside me and be Cap's wingman again? And he was like, you know, Sam was like, there you go with that last wingman bit, which he found like, you know, he's a dick. But I feel like, you know, each of them bring their own pressures and own darkness that they come with this story, because you see it at the beginning when they all put together And when they're saving Sentry, when he grabs his hand and you see a little back pass of what he was going through and what's killing him inside is that shit, my own wife and kid left me. And he was still stuck on the past. And we as human beings are complicated like that. We hold on to shit. Even if we feel like we're moving on, we haven't really and truly. We still hold on to those. They're battle scars for us. They're mental battle scars for us. He's got mental battle scars of him in Falcon and Winter Soldier, killing that person, and then the responsibility that he should have taken on as Cap. But then we all use those, I've done this and I've done that, and we feel like we deserve. We haven't earned it. I think that's the main thing, is that he didn't earn Captain America. He didn't earn that shield. He didn't earn to respect that, to represent that. I think it was given to him because we're all given opportunities. We're all given opportunities. Is how we show up and how we deal with that situation. How do we take on? Because some people will take it on and be like, yeah, shit, man, I got this, boast about it and the rest of it, and then you're like, how do you continue that after? Like, how do you inspire others in the process? What Cap did for me, he wasn't Captain America, he was Captain World, was doing the right thing. What do you do after that? Who do you inspire next? Because Cap will inspire me, and he didn't do that. But I could see what he was trying. You're filling big boots regardless, bro. So when you're filling those type of boots, you're gonna cause distance between family and friends and other people outside because, what was that? They're calling them the $1 store Cap. But yeah, Steve, good on him, man. Good look. He looked better in the suit as well. And he's got like the same. I saw some of the same skill sets kicking in from Cap as well. The way he uses the shield as well. But his taco shield at the end made me bust up. Bro.
Oh, that was jokes.
There's a picture of him like laying down in it when it's all curved up. Somebody did a picture of him like just laying down in there, just chilling in his bent up shield. It was like, fucking hell, how the fuck did this happen? But no, great character arcs. This is what they're doing right.
Yes.
Look at this. We're talking about all of these characters. Give me that character arc.
Yeah.
That makes me respect the characters and want to see more of these characters more. Because I'd like to see more of him as well. Now that you've given me his backstory where he's kind of like suffering, man. The guy's suffering and he's trying to find his place. They're all trying to find their place. They're all trying to find their place. And they end up finding each other. Look at that. Crazy, right?
Yeah, no, that's what I agree with. That's why I started off with characters, because I feel like that's what was most relatable. Like, they gave us characters again, characters that we could relate to, characters that we're gonna like, and characters that we're gonna want to see more of. And after Falcon and Winter Soldier, I didn't want to see more. Now I've seen him in this and how he's grown on me more. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm actually interested in seeing you more because you're actually quite funny. You're quite funny and you're quite likable and whatnot. But yeah, you're right. He was given the shield. He didn't earn it in any way possible. And his PTSD that went back was family stuff. It wasn't the wars and stuff that he's been in before. It was like the family stuff, losing his kid and all that sort of stuff. And after what happened, when he gave that shield, it was the pressures of upholding that honorable shield that Steve Rogers held. Yeah. I mean, Steve Rogers, was such a character. You can never be that. No one can ever be that. And Sam Wilson says that himself. I'm not Steve Rogers, but Sam Wilson, he is an honorable guy, which is why Steve Rogers himself honored him with the shield. But exactly. John, I don't think he's ever going to accept that it was never given to him by Steve. And I think in his mind, it's kind of like, I am, but I know I'm not, but he's always going to try and be that, but it's never going to be that.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, he's definitely a fun character to watch, which is interesting. The next character I guess we could be quick on, which is Ghost, right? Played by Hannah John Carmen. Like, I feel like this character was just there. Like, to me personally, had their own issues, which we know about from Ant-Man and Wasp and whatnot, the isolation, control, trying to get control of her powers and all that sort of stuff. And we saw a little bit of her traumas in Ant-Man and Wasp. But
yes.
But to be honest with you, Ghost was just a side character for me here. Like, Ghost is one of the characters, I have to be honest, that I don't care if shows up again. That's the one I'm not like, oh man, Ghost is not here. I have to be honest, that's the way that Ghost was set up for me personally. And I think that was the way it was set up. There was no You
There was
know?
no
Yeah.
connection. She was just there. She was just there.
She
She was
was
just a
just
background
there.
character. It's a shame,
Yeah.
but she was just a character there. Nothing more to that. I wish there was more. Don't get me wrong. Give me more depth, man.
Yeah.
But then you're sharing the screen with 1,000 characters.
So maybe
How's
in the
that gonna work?
future, maybe in the future though,
Maybe.
they're setting her up for a future one where you give us more depth. I don't know. I mean, the one character that they told us that definitely we're gonna give you no depth on, which we just spoke about, is Taskmaster. Dies
Good
very in the
night.
beginning. I don't know why she was on in the promotions, in the movie, in the posters, all that sort of stuff. But maybe that's just like a Marvel. That is a spoiler. If I found out she died immediately, I would be like, holy shit, why? Why are you telling me that? So maybe that's like a Marvel thing. But Marvel and the writers and everyone made it very clear, hey guys, we're done with Taskmaster. Dead. Which is a shame because I was actually thinking, because of all the posters and everything, like, oh, is Taskmaster coming back? Is there some kind of manipulation thing that Taskmaster's done here? Nah, Taskmaster rules, man. So one character we don't have to worry about no more is Taskmaster. Cool
Oh, she
fight
got
scene in
shot
the
in the head
beginning, though.
quick, bruvs. Yeah, it
I
was
know.
cool. But she got
Yeah.
shot in the head straight away. And I'm like, we just watched Black Widow and she did all sorts of shit in that, man. If it was that easy for Ghost to shoot her in the head, goddamn, why you guys didn't shoot her in the head in the first movie, man?
Shoot him in the face.
Shoot him in the face, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Well, maybe they didn't want to kill her. Where Ghost and I don't know. Yeah. Anyway,
All right,
the next
cool.
cat, the next
Yeah.
character was Valentina Alguer de Fonte. A puppet master. Like it's not the new Nick
Yes.
Fury, any other. It's just a
No.
puppet master. Someone who has an agenda, who has a political agenda, who wants to manipulate characters to kind of feel like they've done something for the world or whatnot. Feel like they try to be a Nick Fury that you can't be a Nick. Nick Fury genuinely wanted to protect the world. Valentina wants to just have a reputation, wants to be known as I'm the one who put the new team together and all that sort of stuff. Wants that bit of that
Yeah.
fame. Cool character. Okay, I'm not really fussed about her to be honest with you. I have to be very honest with you. Whether I see her again, I don't. I kind of did want her to because of her manipulation over the characters and especially Bob, who I felt so bad for. I kind of did want her to face consequences. Now at the end, I know it was kind of like we own you type of thing, but I kind of felt like I wanted her to face consequences. Not, I wouldn't say get killed, maybe get killed, but that wasn't going to happen. But go to
Yeah.
prison, be locked up in that prison, the one in the sea. I can't remember what it's called. That's what I would have preferred to see because I felt like she needed that. I didn't like her attitude throughout the movie, which they put out there. So
She deserved it. Yeah, but
yeah, she
it'd
deserved
be interesting to
consequences.
see where they kind of take it. To be honest, like you know what it is, bro. They're not gonna kill her off. They're just gonna keep it for the next project.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, yeah. I will see. I mean, I wonder if there'll be any connection or communication between her and Nick Fury, type of thing, because they're on that sort of leadership, that sort of level. But she's a puppet master, more than anything. But
Exactly.
those are the characters. I'm glad we kind of dipped in that because that was the main thing for me. Just those are characters and the emotional art, and the mental health that went behind it. I think they've done a great job of that. Let's go into the story real quick. Um, you know a story, like what brings the team together, the mission, the twists and all that sort of the surprising kind of meant like parts and major betrayals and all that sort of stuff. Final acts between the characters, emotional beat. Okay, look, the story, I think it does follow the Marvel formula, right?
Mhm.
It does start off with like them doing secret missions and all that sort of stuff. And this played back in the previous sort of Marvel phases and everything, introducing them, which I think was great. Obviously, in the background, they've been doing covert missions, but they've been doing like not heroic missions, more like execution missions. They were like assassins
Yeah. Like
killing it.
government stuff. Yeah.
This is not a hero act. Heroes don't do that. This is why Steve Rogers was against that government being involved and all that sort of stuff. But what brings them together is really Valentina kind of betraying them and her project, her century project, right? She ended up
Yeah.
end of the day, she wanted them dead. She was
Yeah.
trying to set them up to kill each other, and they ended up discovering that and working together to save themselves at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it wasn't like they had to team up together for a big threat. They had to team up together to save themselves because their leader, whoever was putting them together, was the one that tried to kill him. I think there was betrayals. Like even in the very beginning, you had John Walker. When they were walking up that thing, he wanted to save himself and And you know,
Yeah,
when he
yeah, yeah.
tried to grab the lift or whatever, the elevator or whatnot, they all dropped at the end of the day. Like he didn't give a shit about them. So there, of course, there was like trust issues between them, but they were set out to kill each other anyway. So that's why they, I don't
Exactly.
think in the beginning they gave a shit about each other. And then by the end of the movie, obviously they've done a great job in building that relationship with each other. I mean, apart from that, I mean, with the story, I mean, like, you know, Sentry was the big bad in this movie, but it sets up. I think there wasn't supposed to be like a main villain. It was more like an introduction to these characters, and I felt like having Sentry as the main bad, but also he's a part of the team, was a good way to just keep the focus on this team and not another forgettable villain. That's in my opinion, which was great.
100%. 100%. 100%. I feel like that played a big part, bro. That played a big part because I feel like that is the key element was that I hope we don't just have like uh a dead end sort of shitty villain. I'm fed up with them, man. I'm fed up with them like one off, like you just killing them off. These are like in the comic books, these are like arch enemies. You know, they go on forever. They have continuous battles. They have a morale, not like in the movies where they just kill everybody off. So it's
I
like
was thinking
it's
about
great
that
that
with
yeah,
Taskmaster. I've read so many
yeah.
comics with Cat and Pun and all them lot with Taskmaster and the way they killed that character off. I'm like, oh, that's it with that. So no, yeah, you're right.
It's good to see that. Definitely good to see that. It's not one of them dead characters. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we
Anything
deserve
else about
more
this?
as an audience.
Yes, yeah,
No,
exactly.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, especially in a universe like this, I don't think it's like an 80s movie where you just put a bad guy in there and you're like, yeah, I can't wait till this bad guy dies type of thing. It's more like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
different now. It's especially with these kind of universes, it's these bad guys that are because no one's yeah, it's different. It's different. Like even the bad guys, even the villains have character arcs. They got relationships with them and all that sort of stuff. Like it's almost like they're needed for that. They're needed to be there for the hero to be there, type of thing. But yeah, I think the story's, yeah, it's great. I honestly, I think it's like not a bad, how do I pull it? It's an entertaining story. It's a relatable story from beginning to end. So that was good. I think the story again was focused around the characters more than uh, an end goal or an end
Yeah,
game or a
exactly.
villain. It was just like, here's a story about these guys and whatnot. And it was just focused on these guys. And no, like I say, no,
Exactly.
like I don't want to compare, but obviously as a comparison, it's like Suicide Squad, right? You got these misfits, right? And there's some, I'm talking about James Gunn's one, which was awesome, but there's some sort of story about the characters, but then you put a big bad in there and the focus goes on the big bad. Whereas this one, you just focus on these characters and the big bad kind of turns out to be part of this team, but it's all kind of relating back to how do we help this member of our team? You know what I mean? Like this person's
Yeah.
struggling. This person is he's struggling and we need to help this person. And that's why I felt like this movie nailed it in regards to the anti-villain team or whatever, the misfit team. You nailed it with that because you're helping each other and you're all messed up and you're keeping the focus on that. So I thought that
100%.
was pretty
100%.
brilliant.
No, same here,
Um,
bro. I'll agree with you on that. I'll agree with you on that.
Cool. Story was good. Let's move on to the cinematic style and action. Bro, the direction, the tone, the fight choreography, the dark feel, the grounded feel, the bright sort of Marvel sort of feel. You know, if there's any set pieces and all that sort of stuff, visuals and everything, the score, the design, the pacing. Like, what's your thoughts on all of that sort of stuff?
So, uh, pacing wise, I think it was actually pretty cool. It didn't
Yes,
feel long winded. You know, I'm not looking at my watch.
agreed.
I feel like that was actually really good. Uh,
Actually felt
you
short.
know,
For me, it's first time in a while a movie felt short to me. I really enjoyed it
I
from
think
beginning
because
to
that's how
end.
good it was. That's how good it was for us to make because it's still a 2.5 hour film, bro.
Mm.
So it's still a 2.5 hour film. So you're like, okay, you've kept me entertained for 2.5 hours without realizing the timing. Now, my only issue is I saw this in IMAX, so very grand. This is the first time they've changed the Marvel logo. Very high definition, very colorful. It was comic book related. It didn't have what we've been usually watching for the past 20 years, which is parts of the film. It was a fresh start. I feel like Marvel Studios are saying, this is a fresh take. We're doing something. We're going to try something different here, which was interesting. But I did find it way too dark, if that made sense. Like the color coding, it's like grayish.
The void.
It's
Well,
kind
I
of
tell you
grayish.
what. Well, the void itself was dark, and I heard that the reason why they made it IMAX and it's recommended to see in certain screens where they could really emphasize on the color because black was black. It was like dark black. It wasn't just like a shading of black. It was like they really wanted to emphasize the void being black.
It was black, bro, proper.
Yeah.
You could see it.
Yeah.
You could see it. But I think overall the tone of the movie, it wasn't really bright. It was quite dull looking. The intro was the only colorful thing in that movie. The rest of it was quite I that's what I found. That's just me. But overall, it didn't take me away from the movie or anything like that. I think they did a lot of real action in there, a lot of explosions, a lot of breaking damage and things. They did a lot of their stunts themselves as well. And it's always great to see that because you could see it on the screen. You know what I mean? Some things can be, like I was saying in my review, was that it could be so CGI heavy that it makes you lose that moment. So, no, great, bro. I loved it, bro. It was really good. I really had fun with it. Really had
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, I think like the fight choreography was fun, and I think the expression of Sentry's power is exciting. I just can't wait to see more. I am really excited to see more of Sentry and whatnot. But yes, I think the first fight scene between the guys in that little basement thing was awesome. Just the manipulation of the shield and their powers and their combat skills was awesome. Bucky showed like I said, his Terminator scene was awesome, and then just when they were saving New York and all that sort of stuff, like it just felt old school, man. It felt like Winter Soldier. It felt like the first Avengers type of thing, where it was
100%.
more hand-to-hand sort of superheroes rather than mystical powers and all that sort of stuff, which felt great. And I think with that, what comes great sort of choreographing and whatnot, just outstanding choreographing. I think they allowed us to see the choreographing too, not too much cutscenes and all that sort of stuff. It was easy and comfortable to watch. Very fun, man. I mean, like the pacing, as I said, it felt short to me because I felt so entertained by the movie. I actually wanted more. And I think when you got me wanting more, you got audience wanting more. I feel like you've done a great job in the movie. So listen, man, I think all of that stuff was awesome. They definitely invested in IMAX and all the character, the clearness of the shots and everything like that. I don't know if it was specific for this movie, if they're gonna do it for every movie, but I heard that the Marvel producers and Feige and all the people in charge are like, the reason why we're saying we're back is because this is how we're going to start making our movies again. We're going to slow down projects and make sure every movie is kind of like this, from a cinematic, from an action, from a story perspective and all that sort of stuff, which I think if you take your time, do it. And even with TV shows, do it with the TV shows as well. All right, look, MCU connections, comic book Easter eggs. Let's go through all of that, right? There's a lot to go through, right? And I'm stealing this from Screen Rant. So shout out to Screen Rant for you lot to all do that. I do think I agree with what you said in the beginning. Marvel should just have their own page. Like if I want to search this up, instead of going to Screen Rant, I feel like Marvel should just, because you're already doing it, you might as well release your own content saying, hey guys, here's all the spoilers and Easter eggs that we put in it, because they would know everything that they did. So that's my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so
they
I
need
could
to.
just
Marvel
go to,
jump on that.
Yeah, that could go to like marvelmcu.com or whatever, type in, go to the Thunderbolts and be like, all right, here's all the Easter eggs and spoilers, guys, just for your information. So I'm going to read them all out. There's 50 here. So I'm going to quickly read them out as much as possible, as fast as possible, because I don't want to be here all day reading them, right? But there's 50 that Screen Rant found. So shout out to Screen Rant. All right, first of all, The Void takes over the classic MCU opening. You do see the MCU opening a little bit going, turning a little bit black because of the void. You got OXE Group, which is Val's mysterious shadow company that they've introduced into this. You got Bucky representing Brooklyn. Obviously, that's where he's from as a congressman, and Steve. So that's awesome that he goes back there. Rogue Nations with advanced tech. You had, what's her name? Valentina referencing Rogue Nations. She's talking about Wakanda. For as an example, that they calling them a rogue nation is a bit off, but that's the characteristics of Valentina. She's that type of person. You had a Red Hulk reference. Valentina also mentioned, you had a president that went, that turned into a Hulk basically. So she was kind of using
Yeah,
that as one of her arguments to have people in charge and everything. She mentioned the Avengers that are not walking through those doors. We ain't seen the Avengers together since Endgame, which is a massive thing. We lost characters, all that sort of stuff. It's a big event. Where are the Avengers? Which is why this movie kind of turned into the new Avengers, maybe,
that's right.
right? Because there's a little, marketing thing going on. But end of the day, the Avengers went through some serious shit with Endgame. So, where are the Avengers? And she's trying to make them new ones. Red Guardian's glory days, you have him watching himself. Again, this links to his characteristics, but you have him watching himself on TV and all that sort of stuff. So we're getting a glimpse of, we're never going to get a Red Guardian movie, but we're getting a glimpse of what he's missing and just letting us know that's what he's missing. Project Century costume design, you have that you saw that costume design, and then we saw a very comic book accurate one. One of them was the S logo is exactly as it's duplicate from the original comics, and it looks really cool. It looked really good. It didn't look cheesy, especially like a bright yellow costume. Actually looked really good. There was honoring New York's heroes that Val put together, this little event thing that they put together, which talked about the Battle of New York and all this sort of stuff. And you saw a lot of things in there. So you saw Loki's scepter in there. You saw the T'Chari's cuffs in there. So bringing it back all the way back to New York, the first big Avengers thing. The big Avengers logo, the A was there that we saw, if you remember, from the Avengers first movie, falling
Avengers
down.
Tower,
and everything. That tower was obviously something that she's trying to take and make it her own for her team and whatnot. Shield's reject, which was Ghost, they put her in there. And that was mentioned as well, that she was, initially part of Shield, but a reject almost. Blew up Budapest. Budapest came up again with Taskmaster's story. And going back to Black Widow, and that whole Budapest story that was spoken about so much between Black Widow and Hawkeye. But that was brought up again briefly. You mentioned this before, a dime store Captain America. That was mentioned about Johnny Walker. On your left, he uses that when they were stuck in the thing, and he used his shield to break like the lock or something like that they were looking for. I can't remember what it was. Oh, the sound barrier thing that prevented Ghost from facing. He said on your left. So that was a cool little thing that they use, which is a cool thing, I guess, that especially him being a reject cat in a way. I was in high school when the aliens came, so this was the character Mel, who was Valentina's secretary or whatnot. So she mentioned how young she was when that event happened and everything like that. So that was a cool sort of reference going back to the first Avengers movie. A nod to Emperor's Groove. So this is basically, when they were escaping and Bob gets this idea that everyone should go back to back and stuff. This was however, it's really hard not to think about the Emperor's Groove. When Kuzo and Pacho had to do the same thing. So I have not seen that cartoon, but anyways, based on that cartoon, the Emperor's Groove, basically. They do the exact same thing to escape something. So maybe it's a reference there, maybe not, but they kind of link that to that. He's had a rough go. So Bob's troubled past with abuse and addiction, they didn't they kept that in the movie with him using substances and stuff like that, which kind of depicts the character of Bob and the Century and his two characteristics. It's a very dark one. We're talking about hard substances, so they kept on that. A classic disguise as the enemy trope. So this is this could be just anything, but basically a classic move trope, the Yelena and Bob and John wearing the uniforms of OXE agents to escape the vault, brings to mind like scenes like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo disguising the stormtroopers in the New Hope. So maybe not. Dorothy's friends dressing up as the Guardian Wizard of Oz. I mean, I think that's just a classic thing in any kind of movie. The Power of 1,000 Suns, the Golden Guardian. The line read about Yelena from the Project Century. So they kind of brought that up. The sun kind of reminds me of always Superman. I know he's Marvel Superman, but they kind of express that power in Century, which is interesting. Disposable Delinquents, a ghost reference about the new MCU group, and it's similar kind of links and feels to the Suicide Squad. That's what they are, disposable type of thing. Thunderbolts hilarious namesake. Yeah, they got the Thunderbolts name is hilarious. I don't know if that's from the comics, but based on her football team and everything like that, it's kind of funny. I don't know if it kind of like, I don't know if it was impactful in the sense like, oh, is that the name, basic name from a football team, or if there was something else behind it. But I guess, I don't know, they just took it from a Pee Wee football team and everything. Bucky goes full Terminator. We spoke about that. His scene was very Terminator-esque. He didn't roll the shotgun, but there was a scene where I think like he kind of picked up, catched it, kind of repositioned it. So
Yeah.
really freaking cool. He looked like Terminator. He had the glasses on, the leather jacket. Everything was cool about that scene. But that was a Terminator nod. The Winter Soldier's disc grenades. Bucky also used his classic disc grenade launcher from his time as a Winter Soldier, so he's going back using some of those weapons. He used that on Nick Fury when in that movie. The Watcher Tower, which was the Avengers Tower, which was pretty cool. Tony Stark's tower, that was cool. That was brought back in the middle of New York. We always suspected would that be the Fantastic Four?
Yeah,
maybe because we're gonna get into that. Well, we already spoiled it, but we're going to get into it. You never know. The Baxter Building. Steve Rogers' serum argument. This was brought up. Bob and his power. Mel makes the same argument, heard that several times in the MCU past, about how you only get to be a hero like Captain America using stuff like super serum when you have someone like Steve Rogers enhancing what is already being with you. So that's a fair with Sentry, and like it's enhancing what's being with you. And it did. The void it enhanced his void, which is his trauma and whatnot. Mel's necklace. What is this? While surprisingly not outright, the confirmed in Thunderbolts, Mel is shown wearing a bird necklace, supporting the idea that she's the MCU's Melissa Gold, aka Songbird, the original Thunderbolts in the comic. Yeah, so Songbird is a part of the original Thunderbolts, and Mel is the assistant, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe it's just a hint there, or just kind of like a little fallback to that. Alexia and Bucky co-leading. That was related to the what if story that they had where Bucky and Red Guardian team up, which is
together.
Pretty. So we had a little bit, and you saw Red Guardian and him sitting in the front of the van when they were driving. So that was a pretty cool little thing. Bucky using a truck door as a shield. This is kind of referring back to Captain America First Avengers, where he first gets his powers and he rips he uses the taxi, I think it was a taxi
door. Yeah.
Yes. So kind of referring back to that a little bit. All the momentum fights that happened here. What is this? So New York, waiting for the Thunderbolts at the top floor. Val references the building's past. Oh, she talks about the building and the reference of fight that they had there, which was the first Avengers and Loki and all that sort of stuff, and Ultron and all that sort of stuff. So that building itself is an
at the main
building.
hub. Yeah.
Val kept the Avengers bar. So what is this one saying? Val kept the bar. Oh, the bar that they had. You know, Tony Stark had his bar, and he offered Loki a drink. Yeah, she kept that bar. Earth's mightiest heroes, the strongest Avengers combined. So they kind of said that Earth's mightiest heroes, a single terms typically applied to the Avengers, but she refers to that to Sentry being the Earth's mightiest hero. Bucky's significant knife flip. Oh yes, he does that in this movie. He done that in Winter Soldier. It was a really cool scene when he was fighting Steve Rogers, and he does that in this movie, which is awesome. Fight scene Steve Rogers. He also does it in Winter Soldier and Falcon, which is a pretty cool little thing that he's got. At least one god, which is reference to Thor. Wondering why he has to listen to Val when he's a god. Bob says to Val herself told him Sentry has more powerful than all the Avengers combined, which did have at least one god, reference to Thor. The god in question is being Thor. I lost my sister twice. This is Yelena talking about losing Black Widow when they were kids in the whole Black Widow program, and then also losing her again properly in Endgame. Well, not properly, but like forever in Endgame. Her sacrifice in Avengers Endgame. The Red Room was brought up again, which is Yelena's past and Black Widow's past. Yelena's mirrors Natasha with a classic Avenger move. When Sentry becomes a void and begins attacking New York. Yes, when Yelena gives where Red Guardian gives Yelena a boost on her shield when she goes to save some of the people, and there's a little nod to when Cat done that to Black Widow, which is pretty cool. The Void attacks New York. So the Void's all-consuming attack on New York mirrors one of its debut emergencies in the comic, where the Dark persona were responsible for killing over 1 million New Yorkers, were still brutal in the MCU's Void. Doesn't score nearly as many kills, as its power was to send civilians to a dark shadow realm, so tapping them in their darkest moments and trauma. So in the comic books, it seems like the Void killed them, but in the movies, we didn't get to that stage because there would have been a lot of people dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the New Avengers. Saving her own neck, Valentina declares that the Thunderbolts to be the New Avengers. This is the whole marketing thing that we're going through. You saw even like on the posters on Marvel's official Instagram site, you got who plays Bucky? What's his real
Sebastian
name?
Stan
So
going
going
around changing
around
the posters.
literally training posters, all that sort of stuff. So big marketing thing here. We don't know what's really going on, but it's a massive marketing thing that they're doing. It's a very interesting thing. I don't think they're the New Avengers, but I think this is a whole marketing thing that they've done. Very interesting that they're doing that. They're changing posters as the movie's out. The Avengers theme as Thunderbolts appear on the public as the Avengers. The Alan Silverstein, a classic Avengers theme, can be heard as the movie cuts to the credits, which is kind of cool.
Yep. That was very cool.
I still don't believe that they are the Avengers, but I think it's marketing. I don't know.
It's the marketing, bro, because the movie's still called Thunderbolts.
Yes. Okay.
So it's just marketing, and like I seen they change the social media, put copyright in front of the Avengers and stuff like that. So it's interesting that it's created a buzz, which is great. It's great marketing, bro. It's great marketing.
Definitely. All right, we're on the last 10. I went for a lot. The actual Wheatie box. So the Red Guardian's dream comes true. He's on the Wheatie box at the end, which is cool. Nothing's gonna stop us now. That tune is the music plays in the grocery store in the starship. Nothing's gonna stop us now, which transitions straight to the result of the credits. The same song was used in the movie's first trailer. Okay. Sam Wilson isn't happy that they're trying to steal the Avengers name. That funny scene, I have to say that was I think that was one of the longest end credit scenes. Also, the funnest end credit scenes. I think a long end credit scene is actually quite fun. But that was quite funny. Basically, what do you call it? Copyright in the name and everything for the Avengers. I think that was just a little fun sort of thing. Interesting where Winter Soldier 100%. Sits, because I feel like Winter Soldier would have been more with Sam than he is with this group, but maybe he just found them relatable because of all their pasts and everything.
It's because of the way it's been put together and the way Valentina's put it together. Remember, for her, it was like a scheme to try and turn around with the shit that she just caused. So that's when Yelena was at the end, like, we own you now. So
definitely, yeah.
So, but yeah, no, definitely.
They mentioned a space crisis, so setting up the next Avengers crossover, which was the best end credit scene. Like, still talking about the end credit scene. Yelena Yelena said no one is telling them about what's going on. Space crisis, which is likely to link in with the multiverse and the Avengers Doomsday secret movie, Secret Wars, which links directly to, I have to say, like we said earlier, the most exciting end credit scene, which is the Fantastic Four ship coming in, which confirms that they are coming from another universe, right? Fantastic Four is coming, they're in a separate universe, right? So this confirms that everything that happens possibly confirms that everything that happens in the Fantastic,
or they're in a time warp, not a time warp, but they traveled in the 60s, space-time continuum, and they've come back in this era.
Oh, maybe that's true. Oh, okay, yeah. That's true. So maybe they went missing. However, I don't know, because we're going to see in the Fantastic Four movie, because Galactus shows up in New York City. There was never any talks about the Galactus. And Thanos and Loki was the first space thing ever. But anyway, we'll see. You never know.
Yeah, sure.
But it is fun to know that if it is a different universe, that, everything that happens in this Fantastic Four movie, the Silver Surfer, we're going to get all that sort of stuff, is in this universe and not in the one that we have now. So we might have a different Silver Surfer. A Galactus hasn't showed up in this universe. So that could be a big Avengers sort of big bad in this universe. You never know what can happen with that one. But that one's pretty cool. The new Avengers logo, a brand new Avengers logo can be seen in the new Avengers, and it almost looks similar to the design of Johnny Walker's A when he was briefly Captain America in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Bucky's new suit. Bucky finally gets his own official costume in the MCU, and it looks like it might have been inspired by Barnes' recent Revolution outfit in the comics, particularly with the bigger red star logo on the opposite shoulder of his metal arm. Sponsors on super suits. The OG Johnny Storm would be proud. What is this? So Red Guardian was a horrible new Avengers suit. Oh yes, the last suit that he wears, a horrible suit with multiple sponsors on the front and back. That is likely, unlike Chris Evans' Human Torch, had the similar idea in 2007, Rise of the Silver Surfer, getting sponsors and stuff. That was absolutely hilarious. Can't have Sentry without the other guy. I think that's a Hulk reference. Bob is still with the Avengers, though he's without his powers due to the concern that he can become the Sentry without risking the emergence of the Void, similar to the comics. And also, I think the other guy reference, I'm pretty sure he said the other guy. That's Hulk saying, that's Bruce Banner saying the other guy. And then last one, oh no, we already spoke about that one, which was the Fantastic Four, and that's like the best, I have to say, the most funnest Easter egg and everything that they put in this movie. So absolutely amazing.
Definitely, man. Definitely. No, it's good. Right. There's a lot of stuff in there, bro.
A lot, man. It was a fun one, man. There was a lot. All right, let's finish off, bro, because we spoke a lot and there was a lot to talk about. But the ending, what do you think it sets up? Does it set up, as we discussed, Secret Wars? Does it set up anything with the X-Men, Avengers crossover, any of that sort of stuff? The next possible leaders, critiques, or anything that you think that the movie might have missed? Was it too safe in regards to morale and all that sort of stuff? Like morally grey team sort of thing. Who got the last screen time, the least screen time development, tonal inconsistencies, any of that sort of stuff? And then kind of final thoughts, like personal takeaways, favorite characters. What would you recommend? Would you recommend it to who? Marvel fans, non-Marvel fans, new fans, all that sort of stuff. So let's kind of finish up with all of that sort of thought process.
No, all good. Listen, bro, I think the tone was great because it kept consistent regarding the theme it was on and how these guys are all battling in their own way to find their place in this world and find purpose. I think that was really great, and they stuck to that. Really, again, simple, same formula as the usual Marvel stuff, you know. Beginning, end, middle, give us the big fight at the end. But it was an interesting fight. This was different. It wasn't, you know, them versus the bad guy. It was them trying to save somebody. They were trying to save each other, and they saved somebody that saved each other and made them family. I love it, bro. It was good. Really, really good. I don't think there's any other... I can't pick on anything. I think this is a step in the right direction for Marvel as well, the studio. I think they've got something really good here. I know they're milking it at the moment now, but calm down, because the next movie could be basic. So calm down, but
it's fantastic.
More quality over quantity. More quality.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one if it becomes basic, because it is Fantastic Four. So tough one.
I know. Let's see what happens, but I'm gonna keep level-headed like I did with this one. I'm not watching no more trailers because you guys spoil shit in the trailers. And with your marketing now, that means I'm gonna unfollow you guys, because if I don't get to watch it on opening weekend, I'm gonna be going through what everybody else is going through right now. Yeah. But overall, listen, tone, great characters, a movie I will definitely rewatch again. It gave me a good fun factor feel to it, including the importance of the message it had. So, no, I'm happy with it, bro. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I think for me, I recommend it to anyone and everyone who watches it. I recommend it to therapists, I would say. I wanted to read out the quote my wife gave me, actually, after she watched the movie. She gave me my movie quote, if you've seen it on Instagram or whatnot. Because she's a therapist. She deals with trauma therapy. That's her expertise and whatnot. And I just wanted to kind of read that out. And I feel like the movie is recommended for all MCU fans, superhero fans, all that sort of stuff, blockbuster movie fans. But also, if you're a therapist and you deal with trauma therapy and all that sort of stuff, This is a movie that you could watch and kind of like take that away. Like, wow, you put that in these characters. So my wife's, oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong channel. 1 second. I have to bring this up. 1 second. But yeah, I think the only hold on, actually, let me read this out before I get into it. So a good crap. How do I do this? Damn it. All right. A good mix, this is what my wife wrote immediately, right? A good mix of action, comedy, and emotional undertones of facing our hidden traumas and healing through even the most imperfect connections. A heartwarming story of the rise of imperfectly human heroes. So I recommend it. That's what I'm saying. Someone who who's like a therapist or whatnot. I feel like there's a lot that you can watch this movie as well and break it down from your perspective. The only thing I would say, because I think this movie is great, it's rewatchable. I'm gonna watch it again. The only thing I would say is like my thing with Taskmaster and Ghost. It's kind of like you gave everyone such great the whole movie had gave everyone such great characteristic relatable characters. You got rid of Taskmaster like that. Um, why were they in the poster? I don't know. And then Ghost was throughout the whole movie. You didn't really expand on her much, so she was kind of like a forgotten character. Now, if you're saving that for the future, cool. If you're not, then my thing is like you shouldn't have wasted it on that character and maybe brought in someone that you wanted to invest in, if that makes sense.
No, exactly.
I don't know what this holds for the Thunderbolts. I know they're linking this directly to Doomsday and all that sort of stuff. I was hoping that they would expand on the Thunderbolts franchise, and you bring in Red Hulk, you bring in Punisher, and all these sort of type of guys, which would have been amazing. Agent Venom, but the way they've taken this story, this was almost like a little bit like a redemption story. And people like the Punisher, I don't think he ever has that redemption. He's always going to be the killer. And when I say killer, he only kills bad people. But he's going to be that type of guy. He doesn't have a redemption story. His mission is you do bad, I'm gonna kill you. In fact, he might even want to kill John Walker. Maybe no, he's a military guy, but he might see bad in these guys and feel like, I think you deserve a bullet in the head. So,
Exactly.
I don't think they're gonna take Thunderbolts down that, but that's what I was kind of like thinking that they might do. But that's my personal thoughts. I really enjoyed that and actually can't wait till it comes out on digital release because I definitely want to watch it again.
No, definitely. All
Man,
right.
great Marvel movie. Bit of fun, lot of fun.
No, it was good. It was good. It was good. It was good. It was good.
That's it, guys. That was our Thunderbolts review. Hope you liked it. Kibbs, take us out, man.
All right, guys. Massive, massive thank you for all the love on the channel recently. Guys, shitloads of you, sorry, using those words, have subscribed to the channel. Like, it's insane. We've been growing even more, and it's absolutely amazing. I hope you guys enjoy the content. Like, share, follow, comment. Remember, you can follow the community page where we post up all of our reviews and events that we go to, or anything really good. So make sure you check that out. But follow us on our socials, guys. Follow us on our journey. But really thankful for everybody. Remember, you guys can donate on the link below for medical aid for Palestine. There's loads going on at the moment now, and we do talk about it on our previous episode. So make sure you check out our latest episode of the podcast as well. And yeah, nothing but love, guys. Take care of yourselves. Be good. Look after one another. And be excellent to each other. All right. One love. Peace.
We out. Peace.